Good afternoon, Granville County Public Schools, and thank you so much for joining us for what we are calling a family gathering. My name is Dr. Lisa McLean, which you probably know, but if you're new to our district, welcome. This is the first of what we may have several of family gatherings because in our district, we consider ourselves family. I certainly am like many of you. I spend many awake hours at work, and we know this year may be no different. Allow me to share with you this afternoon that as a country girl hailing from the East Coast, when a family gathers, the first thing that happens to be hugs and thanks. And we do that. So this afternoon, I send lots of virtual hugs your way and thanks for all you have done or will do, because we truly appreciate each of you for all you have done and the many roles you've played in Granville County Public Schools, especially the last 5 months as we've gone through something this country has never seen, the national pandemic. Your resiliency, your creativity, the work you were thrust into, just know on behalf of the Board of Education and myself and the district, you are genuinely and authentically appreciated. Allow me to also at this time express concern on behalf of myself and the board for those of you who may have been impacted or had family and friends impacted by COVID-19. Now, if you don't mind, allow me to share that I'm clearly aware that there is no recipe. There's no playbook this time. We are in what I'm going to say uncharted waters, uncharted territory. You've heard that phrase, but it's true. And so I'm asking for your patience and your flexibility like never before. I've said this to principals. I'm saying this to everyone, and I'm asking it of you. I wish, like all get out, we had all of the answers this time, but we don't. And as you can probably tell, no one does. Things are changing swiftly. So I'd like to share with you, everyone is operating off of the very best information they have at this time. What we've noticed is that things might change from 1 minute to the next, from one day to the next. So I'm asking everyone to please join me in remaining flexible and agile and nimble and know that we're all in this together. And I'll just share a little funny with you. I went home last night and I told my daughter, I said, help me, help mom here. I need a hashtag for some of this. She graduated from NC State and she has the communications degree. She's in marketing. And I said, I need a hashtag. I need something catchy because these are turbulent times for us. We're all stressing. I'm not sleeping. I'm frustrated and help me here. And I started saying, what about we're all in this together? And she goes, oh, mom, that is from that old high school musical. That's so, and she called me old and all this. And we laughed and I thought, she's right, but it's true. We're all in this together. We will get through it together. But I need your help. I need your help. And I'm coming to you this afternoon for a couple of reasons. And one is because I need your help. I need your assistance in helping inform processes and procedures. So in just a moment, we're going to put a link up, that is already, I believe, been sent to you so that you can help inform our processes and procedures and adjustments and changes. And this link has been made available because due to the simple volume of people on the call today, we weren't able to have two-way communication, but this link will afford you the opportunity to pose questions and to share information and to be heard. You will be able to contribute input as we continue to develop processes, and that is important to us. We want want to hear from you. We've also sent you some mission critical documents straight from the governor's office. They've had input from the Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Public Instruction, and we encourage you to use both. At this point, like I told you, we just need input all over the state. This is new. Now, we've had a reentry task force going on for the last couple of months, and I'd like to at this time thank those individuals for the work they've contributed, and we're going to be sharing that information with you this afternoon. So at this time, I'd like to explain why we've called this a family gathering and get down to the work. We've called this a family gathering because we'd like to accomplish several goals. One is we've heard from you and we hear you loud and clear. And that is the numbers are still rising in North Carolina, and that is still of great concern to all of us. So the governor called for Plan B, and we want to know, what does that mean in our state? And Dr. McLean, what does that mean for my safety? So the first thing we're going to share with you is that your safety is absolutely critical to us in our district. Every single employee's safety, every single student's safety is of utmost importance to our Board of Education and certainly to me. You are important, and so is your safety. So you will be hearing a little bit about the work of the Reentry Task Force and all that's been done there. We want to know, what do you need? What is it you need, and how can we help? Tons of work has been done in that area. You're also going to hear a little bit about that Plan B and what is the impact for our school system. I'd like to thank the individuals who contributed to that document on the Reentry Task Force, our nurses, our maintenance department, our safety team. All of you did a phenomenal job, and I appreciate your efforts there. We are then going to hear from our academic team on what Plan B looks like as we reenter school. We're then going to hear a little bit about the professional development plan. We're then going to hear some around human resources and where is it you can go for more information as it relates to your personal needs. And then this evening, I'm delighted to have with us our board chair, Chairman Richardson, who will join us and will close us out. Now, that's quite a bit of information to get in this afternoon, but we thought it was critical to meet with our family and to share with you what we knew. The final thing I'd like to say with you before we launch into everything is that I'm the oldest of 4 children who were born to educators. My mom and dad were both educators, and so I've heard from you. Our teachers have asked, Dr. McLean, how can you help us? Because we have children. So while we're teaching, who can help us with the needs of our children? So we wanted you to know we have people working on that, and we're in the process of working with our attorney on helping us develop what that might look like. And if we're able to do something, you will be the very first to know. Please note that has not gone unheard. We care about you, and we care about all you do, and we care about the things that are important to you. Tonight, there will be a survey that is launched to all of our parents, and in essence, some of you, because you're our parents as well. That survey will help us capture where we go from here. The survey is asking parents about their preferences for their child's learning next year. Do they prefer the Plan B, which is a blended model of face-to-face and remote, or do they prefer to have their child all virtual, based at the school, or do they prefer Granville Academy? We made all 3 options available in our community to all parents. So we will launch that survey tonight. And Lauren Curtis, I'd like to thank you publicly for your work in leading the Reentry Task Force. Lauren will come before you in just a few moments to walk you through that work. I believe that's it for me for this first part. I would now like to turn it over to Dr. Stan Winborn, who will talk with you about the most critical topic, which is that of safety. So Dr. Winborn, if you'll get ready to launch our PowerPoint this afternoon, I believe we wanted to start with all superheroes don't wear capes, but in Granville County, I think everyone wears capes around here. So Dr. Winborn, will you take it away for us, please?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. This is the slide right here, and it couldn't be truer. Educators certainly are our superheroes. Can everyone see my screen okay? Dr. McLean, is it coming through?
Yes, it's coming through beautifully. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. So Dr. McLean talked about safety, and of course, that is our top priority. Nothing comes above this. We have to make sure that this is front and center in all that we do. We have to keep the students and staff safe during this crisis, and we have to have a laser focus on these requirements and guidelines that have been passed down to us from the state. And Dr. McLean referenced those that have been sent out in an email to you prior to this meeting. So if you get a chance, please take some time to read through those and use them as a reference. They are hyperlinked documents online, and the state is updating them when they have changes that are being made, because as she said, changes are happening on a daily basis. So quite the moving target here, but rest assured, this is going to be our top priority. So I've got a couple of bullets here that I wanted to cover quickly. First, regard to PPE, personal protective equipment. As the governor announced on earlier this week on Tuesday, every single teacher, staff member in all of our schools and all of our students will receive 5 cloth face masks. In addition to that, though, we're going to take it a little bit further. We are also going to provide the plastic face shields. And I will just stop sharing for one moment and show you what I'm talking about here. Basically, this is just a very lightweight, very flexible, rather comfortable shield that just goes on, and it's a nice alternative to have when you're working closely around students, when you're kind of getting sort of within that 6-foot boundary that we're all going to do our best to adhere to. But of course, you can also wear your cloth face mask under this as well. But we have a huge supply of these so that every staff member can have access to these on a daily basis. And of course, they can also be cleaned as well very easily, and disinfected, I should say. So in addition to the face masks, we will also be providing ample supply of gloves and gowns for those people that would like to wear them also. And we're going to have this in generous supply. So I don't want anyone to feel concerned about not having enough PPE. It will be a requirement that anyone in our buildings wear a face mask. Now, there are a few exceptions to that, and we will work through those. Anyone that has a medical or some sort of developmental or behavioral concern can get a waiver on that face mask, and we would probably issue them a face shield instead. That's important to remember. We're also going to have hand sanitizer everywhere. Every single classroom will be supplied with more than enough hand sanitizer. They'll also be placed at stations throughout each school campus, including entrances and sort of hallway intersections, at bathrooms, that sort of thing, so that will be widely available to anyone and everyone in the building. And there will be signage throughout our campuses directing people and reminding them about social distancing and how to move throughout the building. So you're going to see a very different school environment come August of this year. We will have, it will be unmistakable what the requirements will be. It will be obvious to anyone. Next, our cleaning and sanitizing methods are really going to ramp up. We will make sure there's an ample supply. The product that we are using is going to be alcohol-based, and we will be providing the safety data sheet about that product to all employees so they can see the contents and of the cleaning solution and determine if they might have any reaction. But it's highly effective against the COVID-19 virus. It kills the virus within 60 seconds. And the nice thing about this cleaning product is that it also evaporates quickly. So we will be using that extensively in all of our frequently touched or high traffic areas. And of course, on every Wednesday, we'll have a more deeper disinfection of each of our schools. Regard to screening, every single person that enters one of our school buildings will be screened. Their temperature will be taken and they will be asked a series of questions. And that information will be recorded so that we can verify it and be accountable for who is coming into our buildings and making sure that everyone is not displaying symptoms. In the event that we do have a case or some sort of outbreak, we have a set of plans that will allow us to respond rapidly. And we also have clear directions about how to contain it and how to trace any type of outbreak. All of this information has been provided to us from healthcare professionals. And our staff, including you, will all be trained on this, and we will all work together to make sure that any problems we might face are minimized as much as possible. So again, I feel like these measures will go a long way to keeping us safe. And you will hear a lot more information in the coming weeks about training, about the actual processes, and how we're going to implement them. So thank you very much. That's it for safety. And I'm going to take this time to now turn it over to Ms. Lauren Curtis.
Thank you, Dr. Winborn. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lauren Curtis. I'm the District MTSS and STEM Coordinator. Before I go further, I want to echo what Dr. McLean said at the beginning. Thank you to everyone that has been serving and is still serving and working on our reentry plans. These people have taken a lot of time to figure out what it would look like in Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C, and just done some incredible work. So thank you to each of you that have served. As Dr. McLean shared, we're going to provide 3 options for all Granville County Public Schools families for fall 2020. The first is Plan B, blended learning at the base school. That's 2 days per week face-to-face, 3 days per week in remote instruction. Our board spent a lot of time deliberating and thinking about what's the best way to serve our students and meet the needs of our community, and selected this option for our Plan B. Option 2 is fully virtual. So students will still be taught by the teachers at their base school. They'll receive all of their instruction online 5 days per week. All assignments will be provided online. Grades and attendance will be taken. But they'll still be allowed to do things like participate in, should they begin again, athletics or extracurricular activities within their base schools. They're still a part of that school community. Option number 3 is an existing option for us, which is blended learning at Granville Academy. So K-8 students, if you're not familiar with Granville Academy, attend school 2 partial days per week and have an at-home learning advisor to implement the lessons that are provided by the teacher during the rest of the week. The 9th through 12th grade students at Granville Academy attend all their classes online and are only required to come into the building if they're not working at standard. Dr. Winborn, next slide. So here's just a graphic to help you really see what Plan B will look like. So we will be taking students and dividing them, if their parents select this option, and dividing them into Group A and Group B. So on Monday and Tuesday, Group A will be face-to-face and Group B will be remote. On Wednesday, we'll have remote learning for all. That allows our buildings to undergo some intensive cleaning and disinfecting in between the 2 cohorts of students coming into the building. Then on Thursday and Friday, we have Group A working remote and Group B working face-to-face. We will be serving our students in our self-contained EC classes 4 days per week because we know they're some of our most vulnerable students. So what will teachers be doing on those days? So again, if you're serving students in this capacity, You'll be face-to-face with Group A on Monday and Tuesday and working with students in Group B remotely Monday and Tuesday, and then the opposite on Thursday, face-to-face with Group B, Thursday and Friday, face-to-face with Group B and remote with Group A. On Wednesdays, we're reserving that time. We know this is a heavy lift to work in these two different environments. So time for planning, grading, feedback, some small group virtual sessions, meeting with your colleagues to plan, participate in professional development, because we know this is something we've got to continue to get better at. And again, that cleaning and disinfecting will be happening on that Wednesday, and then again on Friday evenings and over the weekend to make sure that we've cleaned the building thoroughly between the two cohorts of students. Dr. Woodmore, next slide. To enter school really cautiously, however, we're going to start with a staggered entry. And most of the time when we think about staggered entry, we think about kindergarten. But we're going to do this with all grade levels this fall. So that means that for the first 2 weeks, we're going to divide Group A into 2 groups. And we're going to divide Group B into 2 groups. And we're going to bring them in very small groups because, as Dr. Winborn shared, this is not going to be like a school building that they've walked in before. And we're going to have a lot of different processes and procedures that we need to become a habit. So we'll be working very diligently during that time to make sure that students and their families understand the new processes and procedures, and we get a level of comfort before we bring students back in larger groups. Next slide. As Dr. McLean indicated, the next big step for us is figuring out who wants to do what families are choosing for their child, what works best for them in terms of learning and safety. So tonight we're launching the SAFE, that's Sign Up for Fall Entry. It will be accompanied by a video and a brochure explaining the 3 learning options to our families. All families must complete the SAFE by July 26th to tell us what learning option they want for their child. Blended learning at the base school, full virtual, or applying to Granville Academy. We are publicizing this in our community via phone call, email, website, social media. We've even mailed postcards out to every family to try to get them to present it, to complete it. We have to have an answer from every family. Please help us promote it. You have Remind class groups, you have Class Dojo, you have ways you communicated with your students last spring. If you still got those things available, please help us and promote this process. Paper copies will also be available at each school for families that need it. They can pick them up at the school and then drop them back off, and we'll enter their responses by hand. Again, the biggest thing you can do to help us with this is help promote it so we can get an answer from everyone as quickly as possible. Thank you. At this time, I think I'm turning it over to Dr. Myrick to talk about the remote instruction plan.
Thank you, Ms. Curtis. Good afternoon again to everyone. We know that a large part of school involves teaching and learning. So this afternoon, I'm just going to share some highlights with you, and I will have a couple of topics that I'll be touching on: attendance, grades, specialized services, instructional time, co-curricular and extracurricular athletics, and professional development. Next slide. Thank you. So as Ms. Curtis said earlier, attendance will be taken this fall. Unlike the spring when we were in emergency remote, we did not take attendance or assign grades. However, in this remote learning environment, we are required by the state to take attendance and assign grades. So how will we take attendance this fall? Attendance will be counted, students will be counted present each day by answering a question of the day. Elementary students will complete 1 question of the day for their homeroom, while middle school and high schools will complete a question of the day for each of the classes that they're scheduled to attend. We will have more information about that in the coming days and weeks. Grades and feedback will also be given to our students. We're asking that, like in the regular school setting, that grades are input into our into our digital grade book at least once a week. We will be providing specialized services to our students: EC, ESL, 504, interventions for students who need it, and AIG. Again, co-curricular, extracurricular, and athletics, when we are allowed to return to those activities, students may may participate at their base school if they are enrolled in a virtual option. Next slide, please. So I know you're guessing and thinking about how much time am I going to be required to be in front of my students? So we are giving you average times by grade span. So if you would just take a look at K1, we are averaging about 1 hour and 35 minutes. Second grade, 1 hour and 35 minutes to 2 hours and a half. The reason for that is students progress in second grade, and we're trying to move them to get them ready for that fourth grade, that third grade experience. Our third and fourth graders will have about 3 hours of instruction. Fifth grade will have 3 hours and 20 minutes of instruction, in part due to the fact that those students will be taking the science EOG at the end of the school year. Middle schools, 4 hours, and high school, 6 hours. Keep in mind, again, these are average times for instruction in your classrooms. Next slide, please. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Michelle Robinson, Director of Professional Development, and following her will be Ms. Gwen Lofton, Director of Technology.
Good afternoon, everyone. As we've explained, as we're looking at reentry and looking at remote instruction and remote teaching and learning, we want to make sure that all of our teaching staff feel well equipped to do that. So we will be, over the next few weeks, rolling out quite a bit of professional learning to support that. But to get started, if you would like to go ahead and jump in and start getting ready, there's some suggestions that we'll make right off the bat. Just to build your knowledge base about remote teaching and learning and those practices that come along with that, we're recommending 2 modules currently, and you will be getting Dr. Myrick will be sending an email out with the links to these shortly. The first one is a course called Teaching Remotely, a Practical Guide, being offered by the Friday Institute. It's very thorough. It gives lots of suggestions for teaching in a remote environment, how to support students who may not have easy access to internet, those kinds of things. It's about a 10-hour course, but well worth it. The other one is called Remote Learning 101, and it's another module that provides a lot of very practical suggestions for remote teaching and learning, provides lots of great resources, is a little bit shorter in length. Both of them are very high quality. Also, one of the things you can start thinking about is setting up a learning management system, which is your platform for your creation of digital lessons and the communication of those lessons, a place for students to submit work. And so there are 2 modules that our technology team already has available if you want to go ahead and sign up for those. One is on Google Classroom, which is one of our learning management systems. And the other one is on PowerSchool Learning, also called Haiku, which is one of our other learning management system options. So both of those courses are already currently available through Wisdomware. So when you get your email from Dr. Myrick, those links will be live and you can sign up for those. We definitely encourage you to go ahead and get started with those. Over the next few weeks, some additional options will be coming out as you start to look at tools for remote teaching and learning, which Ms. Lofton will start to talk about now.
Great, thank you, Michelle. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Stan. So here are a couple of our online modules that are currently open this summer that we wanted to highlight as options for you to do this summer if you're looking to refine your skill while you're home and thinking about this coming school year. So a couple to highlight besides the Google Classroom and PowerSchool Learning and Haiku that Michelle already mentioned. We do have a 3-hour course on virtual instruction using online meetings. One on Chromebooks 101. I'm thinking specifically of our elementary teachers who maybe haven't used the Chromebooks before, their students haven't used them before, especially in the younger grades. So we have a 3-hour intro course on that. Educate About Edpuzzle is a 2-hour course if you're interested in learning how to flip your class and record videos and have students answer questions about the content throughout. And then if you're really an overachiever, We are very proud of those of you who have already gotten Google certification. We have almost 100 in the district, but if you are interested in tackling Google certification, I know it seems impossible to do it during the school year. I had to do it during the summer myself, but that is an option, and it does take about 15 hours. As a reminder, all of these online courses that we offer and more are in the IT newsletter that is sent out by us every Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, so you can locate those courses there. Again, these are completely optional, but just a way to satisfy some of the DLC CEUs that you need. Again, that's 20 hours per licensure cycle, but it would be a great time to try and knock some of them out this summer if you have time and are interested. Go ahead and go to the next slide. The next thing I wanted to give an update on is where we are in terms of the technology hardware. So I'll start with the high schools and work down to the elementary schools. In our high schools, all the devices for our ninth graders have been ordered. And just so you all know, there is a large back order on Chromebooks from all makes, from all vendors. So we're doing the best to get those in, and we put our order in as soon as we could. And those are supposed to arrive in August. Granville early colleges already have arrived, thankfully, since they're starting here in just a couple weeks. The 10th through 12th graders already had a device from high school, and they're going to continue to use that same device as they always have. Moving down to middle school, they're in a similar situation. So all the devices for sixth graders have been ordered and should arrive in August. Northern Granville, our largest middle schools, did already arrive, and those are already at the school ready to be deployed. And then the 7th and 8th graders already have their device. They keep them over the summer, and they're going to use those next year as well. Next slide, please. For our elementary devices, you all know that we were able to pull off rolling out 4th and 5th grade devices at the last minute in the spring, and couldn't have done that without your help. My technicians worked last week to inventory those devices and make sure that they're in working condition, repair any that need repair, and replace any that need to be replaced using some of the seniors that just graduated. Some of those Chromebooks are in good enough condition that we can use them in the 5th grade classrooms for the time being. 3rd grade devices, we were able this summer to purchase brand new Chromebooks for 3rd graders and carts to place those on. Those have arrived in the district in the last couple of weeks, and those are going to be ready for use at the start of the school year. Last slide for me, if you don't mind. And we are very excited to announce that we are going to become one-to-one in K-12. So we have not become one-to-one in kindergarten through 2nd before, and we're very excited about this. We are going to be purchasing touchscreen Chromebooks to make them age appropriate for our little babies. We have ordered the first 339 of those Chromebooks, and we are about to order the last 1,100. There's a lot of complicated steps to go through, and we have been very meticulously completing those steps, and we should have that order placed any day now. So we're very excited about those devices going to our elementary students. We paid close attention to your feedback in the survey that said, look, our kids need devices too. And so we are very proud to offer that. At this time, I'm going to wrap up with technology and hand it off to HR with Jamar.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to let everyone know that our HR department is developing a frequently asked questions handout that will be available to our employees. We want to be able to ensure that we are answering your questions regarding your leave types and leave types if it is available to you. This will be a living document, so it will be constantly updated as we are provided with new information from local government and from other agencies. Currently, there are limited leave options available for those who may require leave, and some that require specific certifications, documentation, and requirements before being able to use. If you remember back in the spring, the emergency paid state leave was available to staff, and we were able to share that information with our staff when it became available. That leave expired June 15, 2020 for all individuals. So there's limited leave options that are available, but if more becomes available, we'll be happy to share that with our staff. Additionally, the district has developed an application form for employees who may self-identify as high risk, as we do know that there are some individuals who may fall into that category. We'll be able to work with those individuals as best that we can and be able to provide temporary accommodations for those employees. That information will be shared in the days to come. Please bear with us as we continue to work through this process. I'm going to hand it off back to Dr. Winborn.
Wonderful. Dr. Winborn, I believe right before we do
Yes, ma'am.
that, it's time for Mr. Richardson.
Yes, ma'am. Our board
Thank
chair.
you. Mr. Richardson, you're up next.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to echo what you've already heard. I want to thank you so much for taking time today. I know that there's a lot of things you need to be doing, but thank you for coming together as a family and us discussing these important items. I want to thank the staff that has been working already to organize and all of you who've been giving input to all these plans. There were 16 subcommittees of that task force that took quite a few people to put together, knowing that we're taking input away from you as well. The Board of Education is working to take all of the current information that we can put our hands on and make the very best decisions. One thing I told our board in an email this morning was we know this is a fluid situation, that as we make decisions, things are gonna change a little bit, and that we have to remain flexible. You've heard lots of info today. So I've got a couple of pointers for you. So as you've heard all of this, take a deep breath. Take just a moment to kind of just remember that, as they said earlier, we're all in this together. We're all kind of dealing with the same type of issues. So take a breath and then remember flexibility. One of the things that I learned early on in my work as a pastor was every time I had something planned, I would have to be fluid and flexible, and that was the best way my team would operate. So that's what we're asking for everybody today, is that what we're presenting to you today, it could likely change in the next couple of days, and so just be real flexible. Another thing to remember is that the way you present yourself in your community, in your family, maybe in your church or social circles, you're not only representing yourself, you're representing Granville County. And just you can help produce kind of a state of calm, just as we're in that all in this together phase, and just remember flexible. Becky and I are praying for each of you. We know that families have been affected by the COVID virus. We know that lives have been disrupted and plans have had to be changed several times. And so know that we're standing there with you. We're praying for you and with you. And I say all that to be the end of, I just want to thank you for all that you're doing, all that you have done. Man, Granville County made me proud this past spring when we stood up an effort to do remote learning in just days, and feeding children, and taking care of each other. The week that we had that, we were just asking, how were you doing? I'm just really proud of everything that all of you are doing. Makes me proud to be able to say that I'm part of a winning team. But the biggest thing, and this is something I've always said, is everything that we're doing, we need to make sure at the forefront we're keeping what's best for children. And so as we've laid out plans as a Board of Education, as the administrative team and all of these ones that have presented today have laid out plans, please know that at the very heart of it, it's making sure what's best for children, taking care of you as a staff, because again, we're all family. And so I just want to thank you for all that you're doing. If there is anything myself or the other board members can be doing, we want to hear feedback from you. We got several of you that have reached out to us over the last few days. Thank you for that. It's important for us to know what you're feeling so that we can come alongside of you. So let us know what we can be doing. But also make sure that you know that we are trying our very best with the information we have. And so again, I just thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak to you. This is a great way for us to be able to communicate, even though we can't be there side by side with you right now. But if there is anything we can do for you, let us know. And Dr. McLean, I appreciate the opportunity.
Mr. Richardson, thank you so much for joining today's meeting. You and our board, we really appreciate what you all have done. And to all of our presenters today, allow me to say thank you. This was a fast turnaround, but it was important. It was important to all of us that we take time as a family to sit and just make sure everyone had good information, not the rumor mill. I'll be like all of you. When I'm in Food Lion, it's amazing what I hear we are doing. So I wanted to just take a moment to give good information. There's so much more to share, but I hope you at least know who to see to ask certain questions. The big thing right now, though, is that we need everyone to help us spread the word that there is a survey going out tonight. And we need every parent in our community to tell us how he or she would like their child serviced next school year, the learning option they choose for their child, because that will help us inform what it is we might need to do, how many teachers we need in the virtual world, and how many teachers we need for Plan B. It will help our board determine, do we need to stay in Plan B, or do we need to think about something else? So I need you to help us spread the word about the significance and the importance of what it is parents need to do with this survey that is going out. So if you'll do that, I really, really appreciate it. I'd also like to thank those of you who have volunteered this summer to help us keep literacy alive. Literacy matters. And this summer, we've been able to put books and food, thanks to those of you who have volunteered with our child nutrition and transportation department. You've volunteered, and each week we've been able to extend almost 25,000 meals and get those out into the community. The book bus, the feeding, you've done a tremendous work in this community, and we thank you for that. I'm proud to be the superintendent in Granville County Public Schools. We're resilient. We always step up to the plate. And this time, once again, I just ask for your flexibility. As I know it seems things change, this time they really have, and they continue to, but we're in it together. And we will get through this. We will. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. Dr. Winborn, have I missed anything?
Just one minor piece of housekeeping. This video is being recorded and will be posted on our Granville County Public Schools YouTube account, and we will send that link out to all staff.
Thank you so very much. Everyone, please have a good evening. And once again, thanks for all you do. We truly appreciate you.